All right, today we're going to tackle one of the buzziest tech terms out there, blockchain. Now, you've probably heard about it, most likely because of cryptocurrency, right? But its real power, the thing that makes it so revolutionary, is all about something much more fundamental: trust.
I mean, think about it for a second. We live so much of our lives online. We're constantly buying things, signing agreements, and just interacting with people and companies we've never met. All of this depends on us being able to trust the system.
And for ages, the way we've solved this problem is with a middleman. We trust a bank to handle our money, a government to keep track of who owns what property, and big tech companies to manage our online identities. They're the central authority, the source of truth we all agree on.
But here's the big, game-changing question at the heart of blockchain. What if we didn't need that middleman? What if we could build a system where trust is just built in, woven directly into the network itself, with no single company or person in charge?
And that's exactly what a blockchain is. The simplest way to think about it is like a shared digital notebook, or a ledger. The cool part is, this notebook is copied and spread across a whole network of computers. And once something is written down in it, it's locked in with some serious cryptography, making it transparent and incredibly difficult to change. So how does this digital notebook actually work? Let's pop the hood and look at the building blocks that create this whole new kind of trust. Okay, so any new information, say the details of a transaction, gets bundled together into what's called a block. Now, each new block gets its own unique, super secure digital fingerprint that also links it back to the block that came just before it. This is what creates that chronological and, for all practical purposes, unbreakable chain.
And here's the real kicker. This chain isn't just sitting on one server in some data center. Nope. Instead, identical copies of the entire thing are shared across a huge peer-to-peer network. Every person or node on the network has their own complete copy.
So you might be wondering, how does all this tech actually create trust? Well, let's say you're a hacker and you want to change one little transaction. First, you'd have to change the data in that block. But doing that would change its unique digital fingerprint, which would instantly break the link to the next block in the chain, and the next, and the next. To make your fake version the real one, you'd have to somehow convince more than half of all the computers on the entire network to accept your version, all at the same time. It's security through massive collective agreement.
Now, before any new block gets added to the chain, the whole network has to agree that it's legit. This is done through something called a consensus mechanism. You've probably heard of Bitcoin's proof of work. It's basically a giant, super competitive math race, and it uses a ton of energy. But newer systems, like what Ethereum uses now, are moving to proof of stake. It's a much greener method where you put your own crypto on the line for a chance to validate transactions. It's like putting your money where your mouth is.
And it gets even cooler. This digital ledger doesn't just store information, it can actually run code. We call these smart contracts, and they're essentially self-executing agreements. The best analogy is a vending machine. You put in your money, you press the button for what you want, and the machine automatically gives you your snack. No cashier needed. A smart contract does the same thing, but for all sorts of digital agreements.
Okay, so how is this technology actually being used in the real world? Because while Bitcoin definitely made blockchain famous, its potential is being explored in pretty much every industry you can think of. Let's talk about the supply chain. Companies like Walmart are using blockchain to track food. They can create a permanent, unchangeable record of a product's entire journey, from the farm to the store shelf. So if there's ever an outbreak of, say, E. coli, they can trace it back to the source in seconds or minutes, not days or weeks. That's not just a small improvement, it's a total game changer for food safety.
Or how about healthcare? Blockchain could be used to create secure medical records that you, the patient, actually control. And it's also being looked at to fight the huge problem of counterfeit drugs by creating a verifiable trail for pharmaceuticals from the factory all the way to the pharmacy.
For creators, artists, musicians, writers, this is a huge deal. Blockchain can create a time-stamped, verifiable proof that you own your work. And with smart contracts, it can even automate royalty payments, so you get paid automatically and fairly every single time someone uses your stuff.
And yes, of course, we have to talk about finance. Beyond just cryptocurrency, this technology is being used to make international payments way faster and cheaper by cutting out all the different banks that usually have to be involved. Some estimates say this could save the industry something like $20 billion a year.
So where is all this headed? The potential is obviously massive, but let's be real, the road to getting there isn't exactly smooth. There are some serious challenges to think about.
But first, just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, the research firm Gartner thinks that by the year 2030, the annual business value added by blockchain could be more than $3.1 trillion. That's trillion with a T. It's a staggering number.
But, and it's a pretty big but, getting to that $3 trillion future isn't a sure thing. The tech has to clear some major hurdles first. Scalability is a big one. A lot of blockchains are still way slower than, say, a credit card network. We've talked about the massive energy consumption of some models. Then you've got governments everywhere still trying to figure out the rules. The fact that this stuff is just really complex to build, and that even if the chain itself is secure, the apps built on top of it can still have weaknesses.
And that kind of leaves us with the big final question. Blockchain presents this incredibly powerful new way of creating trust in our digital world. It has the potential to make everything more secure, more transparent, more efficient. But its journey from being this brilliant idea to something we all use every day, well, that journey is really just getting started.